Welcome to James and Elena's English Chat, the podcast where we talk about real life to help you with your real English. I am James, and I am currently sitting here with a very large stain on my shirt. How are you doing today, Elena?
Oh, James, I am doing well, thank you. But I have to ask, what happened to your shirt? It looks like a map of a very messy island.
Well, I was trying to figure out how to use the new espresso machine my wife bought. It has so many buttons. I pressed the wrong one and coffee just sprayed everywhere. I didn't even have time to grab a mug. I think I am still getting used to fancy technology.
I feel you. Technology can be a bit much in the morning. But honestly, that is a perfect start to our topic today. We are talking about that classic question, how is your day? And how we can answer it with more detail and flavor.
Exactly. Usually we just say, I'm fine or good thanks, but life is much more interesting than that, especially when you are covered in coffee. Before we dive in, we should mention that today's episode is designed for intermediate learners, around the B1 and B2 levels.
That's right. And remember, if you don't catch every single word or idiom we use, that is totally okay. Just relax and listen to the flow of the conversation. You'll pick up more than you think.
So here's a quick tour of what we are doing today. First, Elena and I are going to share some real stories from our week, the good, the bad, and the messy. While we talk, I want you to listen for some specific phrasal verbs we use to describe our routines.
And then, at the end of the show, we'll visit Elena's vocabulary corner. That's where I'll pick out the best phrases and explain exactly how you can use them in your own life. It's a great way to review what you've learned.
Wait, before we go further, I have a tiny favor to ask our listeners. If you enjoy learning English with us, please hit that subscribe button or follow us on your favorite app. It really helps us keep making these free episodes for you. We love having you here.
It really does help. Thank you. Now, James, let's get back to your morning. After the coffee explosion, did you manage to actually sit down and eat breakfast, or did you just give up?
I almost gave up. I had to clean the floor while my dog tried to lick the coffee, which is definitely not good for him. He was zooming around the kitchen like a little rocket. I finally managed to sit down, but then I realized I had run into another problem. I was out of milk.
Oh no, no milk. That is the absolute worst, especially when you are already having a rough morning. Black coffee is it is a bit too intense for me.
It was so bitter, Elena, just like my mood. I had to drink it black because I was already running late. I grabbed my bag and ran out the door. And of course, that's when it started pouring rain. Not a light drizzle, but a total storm.
I can picture it. Let me guess, you couldn't find your umbrella either?
Exactly. I think my wife put it somewhere safe, which means I will never find it again. So I just ran for the bus. By the time I got to my office, I was completely soaked. My shoes were making this loud squeak, squeak sound with every step. It was so embarrassing.
Oh, James, I feel you. We have all had those squeaky shoe days. It makes you want to just hide under your desk, doesn't it?
Totally. But here's the thing. As I was dripping water onto the carpet, my boss walked by. He looked at me and asked, "Hey, James, how are you doing today?" And despite being wet, tired, and grumpy, do you know what I said?
Let me guess. The classic, boring response.
Yep. I just smiled and said, "I'm fine, thanks." Why do we do that? I was clearly not fine. I was a human puddle. How about you, listening at home? Do you ever find yourself saying, "I am fine," even when your day is going totally wrong?
That is such a great question. I think we just get used to it. It's like a social reflex. We don't want to bring people down or start a long conversation when we are busy. We use "I am fine" as a shield to get through the day.
A shield? That is a perfect way to put it. But by using that shield, I missed a chance to actually connect. If I had told him about the coffee explosion or the missing umbrella, we probably would have laughed together.
Exactly. When we open up even just a little bit, it makes us feel more human. You don't have to share your whole life story, but adding a tiny detail helps. Like, "I'm okay, but I'm having a bit of a battle with the rain today."
I like that. It sounds more honest. I need to figure out how to do that without sounding like I'm complaining too much. I don't want to be the guy who always has a problem.
It is a balance, for sure. But think about it. When you are honest, it gives the other person permission to be real too. My neighbor did this the other day. I asked how she was, and she said, "I'm a bit tired. The cat was zooming around all night." Suddenly, we were talking about our pets instead of just nodding and walking away.
Right. It turns a boring exchange into a real moment. I think I'm going to try to drop the I'm fine habit. It's going to take some time to get used to, though. I've been saying I'm fine for 30 years.
It definitely takes time. But you know, James, it's funny how our definition of a good day changes as we grow up. When we were children, we didn't have that I am fine shield. If we were happy, everyone knew it.
That's so true. I remember being absolutely thrilled just because I found a cool-looking rock in the park. My standards for a great day were much lower back then.
Exactly. I often look back on the summers I spent in a small town by the sea. A perfect day back then didn't involve checking emails or worrying about the news. It was all about the simple things.
What was a perfect day for little Elena? I bet it involved a lot of books.
Actually, it was mostly about climbing trees. There was this huge tree in the garden, and I would spend hours trying to figure out how to reach the very top. I felt like a queen up there. And of course, there was the ice cream.
Oh, tell me about the ice cream. That is a universal childhood joy.
It was just a simple vanilla cone, but it would start melting immediately in the sun. You had to eat it so fast to make sure it didn't run down your arm. That sticky, sweet mess was the highlight of my week. It was so physical and real.
I feel you. For me, it was playing football until it got too dark to see the ball. We didn't need much. But now, as an adult, I have to work much harder to feel that kind of joy. I have to get used to finding wins in my job or my chores.
I think that's the biggest shift. As adults, our good days are often about emotional wins or feeling productive. Like when my husband and I finally finish a big project in the garden. It feels good, but it's a different kind of feeling than the ice cream joy.
Definitely. It's more complex. Like if I run into an old friend at the store and we have a great 5-minute chat, that makes my whole day. It's a small emotional boost.
Exactly. We move from physical joys, like climbing trees, to these connection joys. But I wonder, do you think we can still find those simple physical joys now? How about you, the person listening? What was your melting ice cream moment when you were a kid?
That's a great question. I think I still get that feeling when I take my dog to the park and he successfully catches a frisbee. It's such a simple, silly thing, but it brings back that pure childhood excitement.
It really does. It's about catching those moments before they disappear. We spend so much time trying to catch up with our schedules that we forget to enjoy the silly stuff.
Speaking of catching moments, I want to ask you something. Yes, you, the person listening to us right now. I want you to think back to your morning. Can you find just one tiny thing that actually went well?
That is such a good exercise. We usually wait for the weekend or a big holiday to feel happy, but we often miss the micro joys that happen every single day.
Micro joys. I like that word. It sounds like something I can actually handle. For me, it happened while I was walking to the bus earlier. I ran into a neighbor who was walking their dog. The dog was wearing a tiny yellow raincoat because of the storm. It was so silly and cute that I just had to smile.
Oh, that definitely counts. That little moment can really brighten up a stressful morning. For me, it was my husband. He left a small note on the fridge that said, "Have a great day." Knowing someone cared enough to write that made me feel really warm inside.
See, that is so much better than just saying, I am fine. If your boss asked how you were, you could say, I am great. My husband left me a sweet note. It's a real answer and it starts a real conversation.
Exactly. It's about figuring out what small things matter to you personally. Maybe it's the smell of fresh bread when you walk past a bakery, or hearing a song you love on the radio. These are the best things to talk about because everyone understands that feeling.
I'm still trying to get used to noticing them, though. I usually spend my mornings staring at my phone, trying to catch up on the news or my emails. I think I'm missing out on a lot of yellow raincoats because I'm too busy looking down.
We all do that, but if we actively look forward to these small moments, our days start to feel a lot more colorful. It makes the boring parts of life feel a bit more special.
I really like that. So listener, how about you? What was your microjoy today? Was it a perfect cup of coffee, finding a seat on a crowded train, a nice text from a friend? Take a second to really think about it. It might just change your whole mood.
You know, James, speaking of those microjoys, I find they're much easier to notice when we are traveling. Everything is so new and shiny. Our brains are just more awake.
I feel you. When I'm on vacation, even a weird-looking tree or a different kind of mailbox is exciting. At home, I just walk past everything because I'm in a rush.
Exactly. I remember a trip to Japan I took with my husband a few years ago. We were in Shinjuku Station in Tokyo. Have you ever seen photos of it? It's like a giant underground city with thousands of people moving in every direction.
Oh, I've heard about that. It's the busiest station in the world, right? I think I would just sit on the floor and cry if I had to find my way through that.
I almost did. We were trying to figure out which exit to use to get to our hotel. There were signs everywhere, but we were so overwhelmed. We ended up walking in circles for nearly 40 minutes. My feet were so tired.
40 minutes? That sounds like a nightmare. Did you get into a big argument? That's usually what happens when my wife and I get lost.
Surprisingly, no. We realized that everyone else seemed to know exactly where they were going, and we were the only ones just floating. So we decided to stop trying to catch up with the crowd. We stepped into this tiny hidden cafe right inside the station to take in the view.
A cafe inside the station? Was it any good?
It was incredible. It smelled like roasted tea and fresh melon bread. We sat there for an hour just watching the human river flow past us. That moment of being lost actually became the highlight of my whole day. If that happened at home, I would be so stressed.
That is so true. Travel changes your perspective. When you're on a trip, a mistake is just an adventure. But when I run into a problem at home, like missing my bus, it feels like a disaster.
It's a total shift in energy. At home, we have a routine to protect us. On vacation, the routine is just to explore. I think we need to bring a bit of that travel energy into our normal lives. We get used to the boring parts and forget to look for the hidden cafes in our own neighborhoods.
I love that. I should try to get lost in my own city this weekend. How about you, listening at home? Do you have a story where you got totally lost while traveling, but it turned into a great memory? Did you find a secret spot or meet someone interesting? We would love to hear about it.
Those are always the best stories. It's funny how the things we plan are often less interesting than the things we just stumble upon.
I feel you on that. Actually, speaking of things not going to plan, I had a total disaster in the kitchen last night. I decided I was going to bake some fresh bread.
Bread? That sounds very ambitious for a Tuesday night, James. Was it for a special occasion?
Not really. My wife was working a late shift and I wanted the house to smell nice when she got home. I found this easy recipe online, but I had to figure out how to use that big silver mixer we have. I rarely touch it.
Oh, I know those mixers. They are very powerful. Let me guess, you forgot to put the splash guard on?
Exactly. I dumped the flour in and turned it to the highest speed immediately. There was this loud poof sound, and suddenly I was standing in a white cloud. Flour was everywhere. It was on the counters, in my hair, and even on my dog. He looked like a little ghost.
Oh no, I can just imagine your dog sneezing flour clouds all over the rug. Did you give up right then and there?
I almost did. I was so frustrated and ready to complain. But then I looked at my dog and he started wagging his tail, which sent even more flour into the air. It looked like it was snowing in my kitchen. I just started laughing. It was such a messy day moment.
That is exactly what we mean by embracing the mess. Sometimes when things go totally wrong, we have a choice. We can either get angry or we can just admit that today is a bit of a disaster and find the humor in it.
Right. And when my wife finally walked in, I didn't try to hide it. I just said, "Welcome to the bakery. Don't mind the snow." We ended up ordering pizza and laughing about the whole thing while I cleaned the ceiling. How about you, listening at home? Have you ever had a kitchen disaster or a day where nothing went right? Did you find a way to laugh or did you just want to hide under the covers?
I think it's so important to share those stories. If we only talk about our perfect moments, we never really catch up with how people are actually feeling. It makes you more relatable. My husband does this too. He'll spend all morning trying to fix a leaky faucet and end up accidentally spraying the whole bathroom. He's learned to just laugh and call a plumber.
I have definitely been there. I think I run into more problems than I solve most of the time. But telling the story helps me get over the frustration. It turns a bad day into a funny story.
Exactly. It's all about the tone you use. If you say, "My life is a mess," it feels heavy. But if you say, "You won't believe the mess I made today," it's an invitation for the other person to share their messy stories too. You get used to the idea that nobody has it all figured out.
I am definitely going to keep that in mind. "You won't believe what happened" is my new favorite way to start a conversation. It's much better than just saying "I am fine" while I have flour in my eyebrows.
It's about being honest, but also being kind to yourself. We all have flour-covered days sometimes, James. It's just part of the process.
It really is. But you know, Elena, sometimes I feel like I just don't have the right words ready. When someone asks me how I am, my brain just freezes, and "I am fine" is the only thing that comes out. I think I need a map or something to help me navigate these talks.
I love that idea. A map for your conversation. It's like having a few preset paths you can take so you don't get lost. Let's look at a few sentence starters that can help our listeners move past the I am fine dead end.
I'm ready. I've got my imaginary pen out. What's the first one on the map?
The first one is perfect for those busy mornings you described. You can say, to be honest, my day has been a bit of a whirlwind. A whirlwind is like a small, fast wind. It tells the other person you've been very busy or things have been a bit chaotic, but you're handling it.
A whirlwind. I like that. It sounds much more exciting than just saying I'm stressed. To be honest, my morning was a bit of a whirlwind. I can definitely see myself using that when I run into a colleague at the coffee machine.
Exactly. It opens the door. They might ask, oh, really? What happened? And then you can mention your coffee machine disaster. Now, the second one is for focusing on those micro joys we talked about. You can say, actually, the highlight of my day so far was...
Ooh, that's a good one. It forces me to find the positive. Like, actually, the highlight of my day so far was finally figuring out how to make a decent toast without burning it. My wife usually handles the cooking because I am hopeless, so that was a big win for me.
Small wins are the best. It changes the whole mood of the chat. And here's one more for when things are just okay, but you're trying to stay positive. I'm still trying to get used to my new schedule, but I'm getting there.
Getting used to is such a useful phrase. I use that all the time with my dog. He's still getting used to the fact that he can't sleep on the dining table. It's a slow process for both of us.
It really is. These phrases help you be more specific. Instead of a flat yes or no answer, you are giving people a little piece of your real life. How about you listening at home? Which of these feels most natural to you? Could you say, actually, the highlight of my day so far was listening to this podcast?
I hope they say that. It's all about practice. The more you use these map phrases, the easier it becomes to turn a boring greeting into a real connection. I'm going to try to use whirlwind the next time I see my neighbor. She always asks how I am while I'm struggling with my grocery bags.
That's the spirit. It's about being brave enough to be a little more descriptive. You'll be surprised how much more interesting your daily chats become when you stop using that fine shield.
Exactly. And speaking of those colorful stories, I think it is time for us to step into Elena's vocabulary corner. I want to pick out a few phrases we use today and really look at how they work. I have my notebook ready. I used quite a few today, didn't I? I hope I didn't mix them up too much.
You did great, but let's clarify them for everyone. The first one is to get off on the wrong foot. To get off on the wrong foot.
I remember that one. It sounds like you are literally walking badly.
It does, but it actually means to start a relationship or a task in a bad or unsuccessful way. It's about that first impression being a bit of a disaster.
I definitely felt like I got off on the wrong foot with my new boss when I showed up to the meeting soaking wet and squeaking.
I felt like I got off on the wrong foot with my neighbor when my cat decided to explore her garden and knocked over her favorite flower pot on the first day we moved in.
That is definitely a bad start. What is the next one?
The next one is a breath of fresh air. A breath of fresh air.
That sounds much more positive, like opening a window?
Precisely. We use it to describe a person, an idea, or a change that is new, exciting, and makes a situation feel much better than before.
After working alone for months, having a team that actually talks to each other was such a breath of fresh air.
I agree. For me, seeing the sun after 3 days of constant rain was a total breath of fresh air for my mood.
I feel you on that. How about the third one?
This is a lovely one. To make someone's day. To make someone's day.
Does it mean you built the day, like a construction worker?
Not quite. It means to do or say something that makes someone feel very happy or special. It's usually something small that has a big impact on their mood.
Finding a $5 bill in my old jacket pocket really made my day yesterday.
Getting a surprise postcard from my niece really made my day because I wasn't expecting any mail at all.
Those are so useful. I think I've used to figure out a lot today too. Is that a good one for our listeners?
Oh, definitely. To figure out. To figure out.
It's like solving a puzzle, right?
Yes, it means to understand something or find a solution after thinking about it or trying different things.
It took me nearly an hour to figure out how to put that new shelf together without any help.
I am still trying to figure out why my computer makes that strange clicking sound every time I turn it on.
I hope you find the answer. What's the last one for today?
Let's finish with to run into. To run into.
That sounds painful, like hitting a wall.
It can be, but in conversation, it usually means to meet someone by chance when you didn't expect to see them.
I happened to run into my old high school teacher while I was buying groceries last weekend.
I always seem to run into the same person for my yoga class whenever I go to the local bakery.
Those are perfect. How about you listening at home? Have you ever run into someone famous? Or has a stranger ever done something to make your day? Try to use one of these phrases in your head right now.
It's the best way to make them stick. These expressions add so much personality to your English. They make you sound less like a textbook and more like a friend.
I'm definitely going to try to use a breath of fresh air later. Maybe I'll tell my wife that her dinner was a breath of fresh air after my flower disaster.
I think she would appreciate that, James. Just make sure the kitchen is clean first.
Wow, Elena, I feel like I have learned a lot today, and not just about English. It is really about how we choose to look at our day, isn't it?
Exactly, James. English is just the tool we use to share our lives, whether it's a messy day or a beautiful one. The important thing is that we are talking about it together.
I feel you. So before we sign off, I want to give you, our listener, a little bit of homework. Don't worry, it's a fun one. I'm calling it the Micro Joy Challenge.
Oh, I love the sound of that. What do they have to do?
It's simple. I want you to look back at your last 24 hours and figure out one tiny thing that went well. Just one. Then I want you to write a comment and tell us about it using one of our new phrases.
That is a great idea. Did a nice text from a friend make your day? Or was your morning a total whirlwind that you finally survived? We really want to hear your stories.
We really do. It honestly makes my day when I see you all practicing in the comments. And remember, if you struggle to find the right words or if you make a mistake, it is totally okay. I'm still trying to get used to half of these expressions myself.
Exactly. Mistakes are just proof that you are trying. Every day is a fresh opportunity to practice and grow. Just take it one step at a time and be kind to yourself.
Well said. I think I'm going to go now and try to figure out how to clean the rest of that flour off the kitchen ceiling before my wife gets home. My dog is already trying to help by licking the cabinets, which is not helping at all. Good luck, James. I think you're going to need it. And for me, I'm going to go see if my husband wants to go for a walk. I think I need a breath of fresh air after all this talk about coffee explosions and flower clouds. Enjoy your walk, Elena. And to everyone listening, thank you so much for spending your time with us. We really look forward to catching up with you in the next episode.
Yes, thank you for being part of our English chat. Keep practicing, keep sharing, and we will talk to you very soon. Bye, everyone. Goodbye.